And welcome everybody. I'm going to try something a little new here. This is JTH, and welcome to this very special live broadcast of JTH recaps. So for a bit of a brief lowdown, as many people probably know, I attended the Schmoedown live event that took place last week. So that explains why there was no reaction, because obviously I was there. No need to react to something I was already attending. Um, so I thought, since I was there, I could give a little bit of a lowdown and recap about everything that happened. Maybe give a brief description of my trip in general, which I was very excited. I had never gone to LA before, and as a matter of fact, I never actually had done any trip in general of that distance. So uh, yeah, so we'll get a little bit into my personal experience about Schmoedown Live. If you saw the match today between Mark Knopik and Jason Inman, you may have noticed that I was in the couple of the shots. One in particular that I saw because I wanted to make sure that it was actually on screen. There was a clip when Inman was coming down the stairway for his intro. You may have noticed that there was an arm extending in the shot to which he saluted to. That was me. Of course, I saw it, and they didn't get me fully in the shot, so that was kind of a bummer. But oh well. You take the blessings where you can, and I think I appeared a little bit later in the shot where you see me just going like that with one of the American flags they were throwing out. So yeah. Needless to say, the Schmoedown live event was easily the most fun I have had doing anything in a very, very long time. I mentioned this on my Twitter page. The only thing that even pales in comparison to my experiences to that was when I attended WrestleMania 24, exactly 10 years ago, oddly enough. But the thing I think that sets this apart from that event is the fact that there were so many more people that I knew at this event. Whereas when I went to WrestleMania, I went with my dad, and there was one other person that I knew that I was meeting up there. But to get to meet so many people that I've known, whether it be through Twitter or through Facebook or through the Schmoedown in general, this was way more fun in that perspective. Um, there was a get together that was put together by Patrick Campbell. Many people probably know Patrick Campbell works behind the scenes with Schmoedown and Collider. So got to meet him, got to talk to him. That was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of people there that I have spoken to through Facebook or through Hangouts that I was really looking forward to meeting. For example, got to meet Jeremy Adams, also known as Smart Jeremy, because everyone knows that I'm Dumb Jeremy. Andrew Hayes, Mike Hanley, couple. Got to meet Janine at that event as well, so that was a lot of fun. So got to meet her even before the Schmoedown live event itself. Got to meet Rachel Silverstrini, which you're going to see on Schmoedown in the very near future. She gave some hints about what happened in the match, but didn't reveal anything in particular. So I'll still be going into that blind. So that's a lot of fun. Got to meet Robert and Vanessa from Late to the Party. They were a blast. Real fun to get to talk to them about anything Schmoedown related or movies related. To get to finally meet them, because obviously, like many reactors to Schmoedown, they were kind of an inspiration for me to get started in this. So to get to meet them firsthand was a lot of fun. Got to meet Chance Ellison, which obviously, being he's about to take part in Schmoedown, and since obviously you saw him appear in the Schmoedown live show, and I can be on record that I was his first autograph. So I got something to pound the chest about and woot about that. So it was kind of funny because I walked up to him as kind of a complete joke. He was like, I've never signed an autograph about anything before. I was like, well, you're going to be on Schmoedown. You might as well get used to it. So speaking of that, I'll go ahead and show. Well, first off, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm wearing the Schmoedown live event shirt that was available for purchase, and I got that. And also was available that some people have probably seen online was this, which is the Schmoedown Live poster. As you can see, there's quite a bit of signatures on there. Last, I believe, if I counted correctly, there's about 17 on here. I think I can probably pick them all out. Let's see. First off, I don't know if you can see here because the glare's kind of there. First off, right there, the one I'm most happy about, Rachel Cushing. Got to meet her finally, my favorite player, so it was a blast to get to meet her. Excuse me, choking on my own celebrations and accomplishments. Over here in the other corner, I don't know if you can tell, but that is actually Ben Bateman. He was one of the very few people out there that actually referred to me as JTH, which was kind of funny because, and that was one of the most humbling things about this trip too, because to travel completely cross country, because obviously, as some of you probably know, I live in Delaware, so it was a complete cross country flight to go out there and to go to this event and for people to actually shake my hand and be like, I've always been looking forward to meet you. Like that's like the jaw dropping, eye popping moment that, you can't even imagine. So when I introduced myself to Ben, he was like, oh, I know who you are. I see all your reactions. Pleasure to meet you, man. And it was just really humbling. And it's like crazy when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, because, I just feel like I'm a nobody making videos that get probably 50 views a piece. So, yeah, so that was a lot of fun to get to meet Ben. Speaking of Chance, there's his signature right there, right on top of the Schmoedown logo, because obviously he's going to take over the world, just like Kalinowski is. So, yeah, that signature, that famous signature that he can brag is the very first one. Then over in the corners, of course, the two masterminds themselves, Christian Hall, Mark Ellis. I don't know if you can see that. There they are. I always find it, Mark always puts this weird eyebrow over top the smiley face. I don't know if it's just a unibrow or if it's just being evil. I don't know. But obviously getting to meet Christian and Ellis at the show was really cool because obviously Christian knew who I was, and it was really cool to get to meet them. And going to the Schmoedown was great and all, but mainly I was going there to see another Orioles fan because obviously we don't really like to show our faces much anymore because breaking news, the O's suck. Last, what was it, 42 and 105 now? Yeah, breaking news, they're bad. So just getting to meet another Orioles fan is crazy. I actually met more Orioles fans out there than I do here. So, yeah, that's sad. So, moving on. Next to Mark is another Mark. I don't know if you can see that, but that is Mark Donica. It says Enforcer right there. Denim no sleeve jacket and all. He just wears it everywhere, I guess. So, but really down to earth guy. Mark was really, really fun to talk to and chat about movies in general. So, yeah, he was probably the most fun to get to communicate with. Right below him, you can see there, Coy. Just Coy Jandrew, given a signature that I would be proud of, just in print, because my cursive is very not good. So you don't try to show off. Just print. COY, Coy, exclamation point. That's all you need. Next to Coy, you got Emma Fife right there. Emma Fife in the Fife Club. She was wearing a very, very nice dress. Looked very, very nice there indeed. I got to chat with her. She was a lot of fun. And it was a pleasure to get to meet her too. Next to her, I want to say, I'm going to predict that this was Eric Zipper, the one right there. He would have been the last person that I met. I met him at the bar after the event was over. So yeah, Eric Zipper was kind of funny because we introduced ourselves. He actually didn't know who I was. But I brought it up in one of my reactions in the past. The first time that we had any communication between each other is when they posted a like a preview shot of his match with the Shire Wolves coming up, and he was wearing the Superman shirt that he always wears, and I was like, so what I've learned about this shot, does Eric Zipper wear any other shirt? To which he responded, like, I own 3 Superman shirts, thank you very much. And so when I said that, he was like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, it was kind of stupid. And yeah, of course I'm stupid because I'm me. You know, nobody knows they're dumb but themselves. So below that, trying to, who is that? I'm not entirely sure. Actually, that might be the same signature now that I think about it. But right below that is Mr. Mark Yodi Riley himself, wearing his wonderful USC jersey. At the time, unfortunately, they suffered a terrible 17-3 defeat at the hands of the University of Stanford. What a shame. But it could have been worse. He could have been a UCLA fan where they lost by 30 to Oklahoma. So I always got to find positive somewhere. But getting to meet Mark, that was a blast. Shook his hand, got a lot of fun. Right below there, there's another signature that I'm proud of. Dan Murrow himself, to which he posted thanks, because obviously if you saw the video, you saw that I was wearing the New World Order shirt. And obviously if you've seen my Facebook or Twitter profiles, you saw what shirt I was in, because got a picture with Andrew Guy, and I'll get to him in just a second. Next to Dan, well, obviously getting to meet Dan was a lot of fun, because I don't know if he ever saw the Take 3 video, to which I completely fangirled when he came back. Yeah, getting to meet him, and actually got to meet his mom too, which was she actually sat a couple seats down from me. Also, on side note on that, funny story, I actually got to sit right next to Cody Decker. If the name sounds familiar, Cody Decker is actually Jen Sturger's husband, and has appeared on movie fights on a couple occasions. So before the Schmoedown live actually started, bullshitted with him for a little while, talked baseball, because obviously he's a baseball player currently in the Arizona Diamondbacks farm staff, to which that, of course, brought up the O's and how bad they stink. And he was actually very positive about that. He was actually, if the Orioles came calling, I would gladly join their team, because that would mean I get to play in the majors all year long, which, hard to argue with that logic, because that's absolutely true. So yeah, getting to talk with Cody Decker, husband of a Schmoedown participant, was a lot of fun. And we got talking about Schmoedown, and if he'd ever show up. I'm not going to reveal if he said yes or no. That's we're going to keep that confidential, because that's his own business. Then where was I? Oh yeah, right next to him, Josh Bakuga, Wild Berries. I was not able to get Elliot Dewberry's signature. I did see him walking around, but was not able to find him. The other one that really bummed me out, was not able to get, was Sam Levine, because obviously he was walking around there too. But he was kind of along all the other Schmoedown competitors, so didn't want to just barge in and like, hey, sign my autograph, yeah, give me an autograph, come on, big Schmoedown fan. I'm not like that. I'm very socially awkward, and I don't like to do things like that. So yeah, it would have been nice to get a signature from Sam, but can't get them all. It's then Brian, did I get Leonard Moulton's autograph? No, I didn't, but I did get to shake his hand. So that was a lot of fun. I had no idea that Leonard Moulton was going to be there, and I actually didn't know they were actually going to reveal in the videos that he was there, because they kind of referenced that they were going to kind of keep that off camera. So the fact that they brought it up was actually kind of cool, that everybody got to see that Leonard Moulton was in fact there. So that was kind of cool. But no, unfortunately, was not able to get his autograph. That would have been cool. At the same time, like, I know he's not really a Schmoedown regular. I know he did compete in Schmoedown once, but I would have tried to find something a little bit different to try and get his autograph on. I mainly tried to keep with the Schmoedown regulars on here. So, but yeah, looking back at it in hindsight, I probably would have liked to have gotten his autograph too. Now, speaking of Andrew Guy, Andrew Guy is right there, and I know that that's his signature, because he mentioned in his when he was there, that he would deliberately try to find John Roca's signature so he could put sucks over top of it. So that's how I know that that's John Roca's signature, and that's Andrew Guy's signature. Got to stay in character even when you're in kayfabe. But yeah, obviously Andrew was a lot of fun. Obviously got to take the picture with him, which, by the way, thank you, Andrew Hayes, for taking that picture. wouldn't have been able to get that photo without you. Um, and pretty much used up all the data on my phone while I was out there. If there's anything that you could know about me when it comes to pet peeves or anything that I'm not really proud of, it's the fact that I am very, very terribly technologically impaired. I have never owned any form of iPhone or anything like that. The closest thing that I have to any form of high technology phone is a flip phone, probably from circa 2012. Like it was a like G3 phone from like AT&T or something. So yeah, sucky quality. Don't get much data on it. The real reason why I haven't had like an iPhone, I just never have had any interest to need it, because other than something like this, which would have been nice to have, um, just never had the need to get one, because all I would do is make calls and see what time it is. That's not really worth paying $800 for. I can get I actually had a phone that was from Singular, which, FYI, Singular died 10 years ago, and I actually had that phone for like 7 years after they went under, which was a lot of fun because I got to call people and didn't have to pay a phone bill ever, because it's fun to have to not get to pay anybody that doesn't exist anymore. And then they smartened up. They turned the DNS stuff on, so that was out of the picture and forced me to upgrade. So damn you, Singular, AT&T. I thought I was going to get away with it forever. But moving on, we get down to the bottom, almost completed here. As the thing falls over, I'm trying to remember who that. I want to say that's Greg Alba. I didn't exactly see where he signed it, and it doesn't really look like his signature, but I know he signed it somewhere because I walked up to him and asked for his autograph. So I'm going to guess that's his, because I recognize everybody else's. I don't recognize that one, so it's got to be Greg Alba. Next to Greg, Janine the Machine, who I mentioned I had met before the Schmoedown live event and got to meet afterwards. It's funny because as excited as I was to see Janine, I actually think she was more excited to see me, because we always, talk about the fact that I was like the only person that bought like her first Schmoedown t-shirt design, which was the old Nerds Watch shirt, which was on the TeePublic market for about 12 hours, and I bought it. And I swear I think I was the only one that bought it. So there's always that special connection between the two of us. And I don't know if you can see that, but she put "You Rock" right there and a heart right there. So that was thanks, Janine. Really appreciate that. And then right there, the current movie trivia Schmoedown champion himself, William the Beast Bibiani, putting hashtag growl growl. I'm curious because I'm not sure if he put hashtag growl growl with anybody else's signature, because the trend that I usually do when it comes to Bibiani's posts when he does it on the Facebook page or whatever is I always put the picture with the hashtag growl growl. So when he posted that, it made me curious because I wasn't sure if he was just doing that because he knew me. I'm not entirely sure if he recognized me or not. I'm guessing he did, because a lot of people recognized this, because what else would you recognize? Because number one, I was wearing a hat, so it covered my head up a little bit. So, and unless you noticed this, you probably didn't notice anything else. And finally, last but not least, at the very bottom, the corrupted a-hole himself, Mike Kalinowski himself, got to sign that. Very, very nice guy. I mean, it's needless to say, a lot of them are nice guys. Another person that I would have liked to have gotten a signature from, but wasn't able to, but did talk to quite a bit, was Ken Knapsack. So that was kind of a bummer. Would have liked to have gotten his autograph too, but can't get them all. But I think that was a very good haul for being there. And can't thank all those people enough. That was a lot of fun. So now that we've gotten into that and into the other purchase that I made while I was out there, let's get into the actual recap of the show itself, which is the main thing on the video. So I'm sure you're all waiting for that. So let's not waste any more times. Let's see. When I should have been there because Levine was there. Yeah, it was. I'm trying to remember when he said that he couldn't be there. That was a shame. And did Bibbs ask about Chris Clark? No, he didn't. I think mainly the reason because I don't think he recognized me in particular. He may have brought up Chris Clark at some point, but not entirely sure. But let's get into the actual matches itself. So, starting with the team match, the first match that aired, but I think as many people were probably aware, the last match to film, which was Merlin Roca versus Winston and Stacey Howard. I was not of the opinion that this was a slam dunk match as many other people were, because I had always brought up the possibility, if you bear with me. Stacey Howard, I've always brought up the fact, is like the wild card amongst a lot of the other top tier players in Schmoedown, because she just has strengths that, are so different from everybody else that, if things don't go right, she can always end up stealing wins from players that on paper might be better than her, but because of the fact that she just has such contrasting strengths, can always work in her favor. And I think teaming up with Winston helped out in that perspective, because it did give a different set of strengths for Winston and Stacey, and I really thought they could work well together. And Coy Jandrew, needless to say, was a hoot out there. That pretty much blew up on the Facebook page. That first scene where he shows up. So the entrances, really liked the entrances from both teams. Obviously the dinosaurs, to no surprise, Real Rejects, Greg and John were the dinosaurs. They always like interacting with those kind of entrances. No surprise, because they're always tons of fun. And the funny thing was when Merlin Roca came out, there was a flub, and they it sounded like they were going to come out to Jurassic Park music too. To which Winston was like, "Boy, you guys are so original, coming out to our content." And then of course the real theme hit. So the first round, I have to say, was a little bit surprising. I would have thought that Winston personally would have fared a little bit better, and Merle too. I would have thought he'd have fared a little bit better too. The one question that irked me, I believe, thinking back, I believe it was the last one. It was the in White Men Can't Jump. What was the game show that the character was rehearsing for? And when I heard the answers, I was like, "What?" Because I don't understand this. Maybe I just don't watch the show enough. But how do you study for The Price is Right? Like, I don't understand that. Like, somebody brought up, think, well, you can look at, universal prices. I'm like, well, okay, that happens like for 2 minutes of the show. Like, what else do you study for? Like, if I play Plinko, do I drop it like this? If I play Punch a Bunch, do I punch it like that? Like, I don't understand. What in the world would you be studying for The Price is Right? The only answer that even made any sense was Jeopardy, because obviously it was the movie was in the 80s, and that was like the only movie that was like the only game show that it could possibly been. When I saw Price is Right given by not only Winston but Dan as well, I was like, huh? Like, I was confused, very confused. So then we come to round two. This was the round that I think a lot of people were curious about, because the wedges that I thought were going to be on the wheel were not on the wheel. Because obviously, as I mentioned, Stacey has those strengths that kind of contrast from everybody else, and especially with what we saw with Dan when he played a guy, I was fully expecting like romance or rom-coms or drama to be on the wheel, and to my surprise, none of the above were on there. I think drama might have been on there, but that was it. I was fully expecting romance or rom-coms to get on the wheel, and it never showed up. It was very surprising. But so Stacey and Winston, they spin Pixar. They do fairly well. I don't think they missed a single question out of those. Did need multiple choice several times though, but to my knowledge, I don't believe they got any incorrect answers on that. So yeah, by that point they had a decent lead going in. but it was not anything that couldn't be overcome if Roca and Merle had spun the right category. And then, of course, they spin, which, FYI, I'm the person that got the Meryl Streep chant started. So, again, I'll pound the chest for that. That's fun, even though I was very well aware that, yes, Meryl Streep was not on the wheel. Fun fact about that, though, because as many people know, I'm a Patreon Wedge supporter. So when this month came up for the Patreon stuff, I wanted to ask Brianne, since I was going to be there, if it was possible that I could get a wedge on this match. At the time, the teams had not been announced yet, so I went ahead and did Dan and mystery partner, and I put Meryl Streep because I wanted Meryl Streep to be on the wheel at the event. To which I was told, the Patreon sponsors get first come, first serve, which I understand. They're contributing more, so I totally understood that. And unfortunately, was not able to have my wedge represented there, but I do know what match it's going to be represented for, so can't wait for that. I will not reveal what it is because I suck. So then we come to the match, or where was I? I lost track of what they live videos, folks. Yeah, gotta love it. So yeah, Meryl Streep wasn't on the wheel, but I decided, even though it wasn't going to be on the wheel, I was like, screw it, I'm going to start chanting Meryl Streep anyway. And I was shocked. People actually started chanting along with me. So yeah, yay, or yay! Very happy that I got to be contributed in Schmoedown Live. So Roca spins the wheel, gets opponent's choice, and just the look on Merle's face, it's just like, is anything ever going to go right for me ever again? And this is where I think a lot of people were surprised, because when the match was going on, I brought this up, and a lot of people brought this up, and when the match aired, a lot of people brought this up as well. I was very surprised that Julia Roberts was not picked. I heard a lot of people, chanting in the crowd to pick Julia Roberts. I did hear one guy pick movie release dates. That might have been Ben Bateman, for all I know, because his face is on the wedge now, so he wanted to be, get the exposure. So yeah, I was very surprised that Julia Roberts was not picked. I guess the one reason, I guess you could say, that they probably didn't pick it is the fact that because Julia Roberts obviously is not picked very often, you do run the chance of some questions being kind of softballs. But at the same time, I thought that it did fit two opportunities. One, a lot of Julia Roberts movies are that romance drama thing. A lot of the movies that I didn't think that Merle was particularly strong at, and I didn't think Roca would be able to provide a great deal of assistance for. I'm not saying that he doesn't know romance or drama, but I would not be willing to put any money on it. And even if, the questions were particularly softballs, even if they do miss some, Stacy, I would think she would know enough about Julia Roberts movies that she could potentially capitalize for it. So the fact that they picked movie release dates was a little surprising for me, because I don't think, to my knowledge, I don't think Stacy's ever gotten movie release dates, so not entirely sure how she would have fared with that particular category, how they would have fared if any opportunities had come about. And it also, in their defense, they probably would never have been able to predict. A lot of the questions in the movie release dates category, a lot of them were pretty recent films. I think the earliest movie that was asked was 3 Men and a Baby, and that was 87. So you usually don't get that. Off the top of my head, I believe it was 1987. You had a 2005. Yeah, the V for Vendetta. Roca's got the mask. So yeah, that was kind of funny. 2005, 2009, 2010, 1997, and 2003. So yeah, there was a lot of current age movies in there. So obviously they couldn't have predicted that it would have felt like that. So yeah, John and Dan kind of caught a break with that. Did need multiple choice a lot more than I would have thought they would, because I thought, especially with their knowledge together, I thought they probably would have been able to pull a lot more of those. And Roca even said in his post-match interview that Dan knew a lot of them, but they were kind of playing it a little safe. which understandably so. I think they did have the confidence that they could win, but so it was just better to play it safe than sorry. So then you get to the final round. I believe Dan and John are up by, I want to say 6 by this point. I want to say it was 20-14. A lot of people were groaning when Winston missed the Tom Cruise American-made question, but I didn't know it, so I wasn't jeering. So, hey, Winston, I had your back, man. I had your back. So then Stacy gets her 3-pointer, which was the what was the occupation of the main character in a Fight Club. And then we get to the 5-point question, which at first I thought they had actually got, because I heard some people around me when they gave their answers like, yep, they got it. And then they were like, and your winner. And I was like, wasn't expecting that. So yeah, so Dan and John, they advance. Didn't have to sweat it out as much as I would have thought they would. I did expect them to win, but the TKO did surprise me a little bit. I thought Stacy and Winston would have been able to, force them to answer some questions in round 3. So there was that. And yeah, as I mentioned, while this was the first Anarchy match to air, I think a lot of us did know that this was like the last match to film, and Roca kind of gave that away because as soon as they won the match, if you saw the video, he was like he was screaming out, Mike and Chance, we're coming for you, we're coming for you, and I was like, how do you know you're coming for them if the match hasn't aired yet? And even Jen in the post-match interview tried to get him to backtrack a little bit, because if you remember, she asked him, so who are you looking forward to facing, Chance and Mike or Rachel and Devon? And you kind of saw that look on his face. He was like, oh shit, that match hasn't aired yet. I probably shouldn't have said what I said. So that was kind of a good, and they kept it in air because he didn't actually give away the match, but you can kind of get the hint of what happened. So but yeah, the match was a lot of fun. Dan and John move on. I predict that they will probably face Mike and Chance next, and based on my bracket, I actually have Chance and Mike moving on. Obviously, having been around Chance quite a bit, I'm quite aware of what Chance is capable of. Mike, if he's got a really good partner, can definitely do some damage. And really looking forward to this match. I'm really looking forward to seeing who's going to come out on top in that match. So yeah, so now we move on to the main event, which a lot of people were confused because nobody knew what the main event of this match was going to be. We heard rumors that it was going to be the Intergeekdom title match, or it was going to be the team match. And then when I got back from the trip, I saw the order that the matches originally were supposed to be released, and it had the Intergeekdom title match being posted first, and the team match was going to be posted second. And everybody was confused, and everybody was like, wait, what's the freaking main event? And to which Christian was very happy to correct everybody and confirm everything that yes, this was in fact the main event, and it was the last match they aired. So that was good. That would have been kind of weird to see the matches aired out of order. That would have been very awkward. But yeah, so as I said, the intros were hilarious. Really dug Inman in the Cap Infinity War outfit. That really badass look, and the combat boots. Gotta love the combat boots. So I got to get a high five from both of them as they were coming down the aisle. Unfortunately, you can't see me when I get the high five from Mara, because when I saw the clip, I noticed that the stage light is completely glaring the entire picture when she high fived me, and she's like, hey, I recognize that, because obviously I'm wearing the new Merle Order shirt. She's like, hey, great shirt, and I'm like, thank you. But of course you can't see it because you see nothing but a big strobe light. So that was a bummer. But as I pointed out, when Inman comes down, I get the handshake and the salute, which was completely improv, and somehow we both nailed that simultaneously. If you go back and see it, we both did at the exact same time, which we didn't anticipate that was going to happen, but worked out really good. And yeah, then you see me, flailing, I mean, an American flag like a total goof. Uh, so yeah, the actual match itself was great. It was a lot of fun. Uh, One thing that did not make air in the video, though, if you saw round two, um, there was something that was brought up and mentioned that obviously you would not have saw, because I want to say Jason, after Mara spun movie release dates and knocked it out of the park, um, Jason then obviously did the part where he broke the wheel, which I went ahead and called him a murderer. So yeah, and a lot of people were, so I was not the only one. So which uh, came into the moment where Mara was like, if I had muscles like that, I would break the wheel too. But what you didn't see was that Jason spun the wheel a couple more times during that sequence, and spun movie release dates on two separate occasions. So of course the spin didn't count, and he broke a peg on the wheel on both spins. So that did not go over well with the crowd. Murderer chants started, and it was a total blast. Everyone got a kick out of it, and that was the reason why Ellis called Jason a peg murderer, which of course you were unfortunately not able to see because unfortunately it did not make air. But then Jason lands Star Wars after about a bazillion shit-tillion spins and retries of spins. And I was curious to see how Jason was going to do with Star Wars, because obviously, as we know, the Star Wars category with its own division, the questions are just getting ungodly difficult if you're not an avid Star Wars follower. I think he probably should have got the first question, who dealt the fatal blow to the second Death Star. Even I knew that one. Even I knew that was Millennium Falcon. So I was a little surprised he didn't get that one. But other than that, some of those questions were they weren't deep cuts. They were amputations, as I always say. And maybe that's just me. Like I'm not an avid diehard follower of the Star Wars films. Like I do watch them when they do come out, but I don't know everything like the back of my hand. I'm not Alex Damon, folks. Cut me some slack. Not everybody knows their Star Wars like those guys. So that kind of set the tone of what a lot of people in the audience started getting the feeling was about to happen, and Mara just started getting more and more momentum as the match continued on. And then we came to the speed round. Now, a lot of people in the crowd were really curious as to how the speed round was going to fare, because obviously, if you remember back in the tournament final, Mara never even got a chance to ring the buzzer in the speed round. Let's try that again. Now, one thing I will bring up, because I did not see this part of the match, so I don't know if they actually aired this part, but it was kind of a flub that happened during the speed round. So if it did happen, you can let me know. But at the beginning of the speed round, there was a situation where because obviously Chris Zalisky came on stage to be the judge of who rang in first, and they did the ring in for the first question, and like Mara, like they said that Mara rang in first. What Chris didn't know, and what a lot of us didn't know at the time, was the fact that Eamon had actually rang in first, but Chris behind the desk didn't know what color was supposed to come up to register who had rang in first. So because they said that the buzzer that turns green is the one that indicates being lit up first, and his buzzer lit up green, but he thought that that meant that he was second, and so he went to Mara. So they kind of had like once they got to like the second question, Inman was like, I rang in first, like and then Mara, vouched for it, and so they had to like reset the speed round. So that was kind of a flub there. So I'm not sure if that made error because I didn't see that part of the match yet. Because obviously, I saw it live, so wasn't entirely sure of everything that they broadcasted. So not entirely sure how that played out on camera. I'm guessing they edited that out because they did like a complete reset. So that was kind of a flub that happened there. But the speed round, once that happened, was very even, very close. And then the final round happened. Mara had a very good final round. Jason, again, got an ungodly 5-point question. Mike Kalinowski obviously knows what that's like. You dummy, which I kept screaming, you dummy out whenever Kalinowski appeared on screen or appeared in the crowd. So that was a lot of fun. Like, hopefully that becomes a trend. Everybody just starts chanting "you dummy" at him because obviously it fits because the "you dummy" question in his 5-point question in the tournament final. But yeah, so Mara Kanopik became the new Inner Geekdom champion, and it was very, very cool to see that. Obviously, it was very cool to see Dan with Mara because obviously the rumor was whose side was Dan going to be on? Was he going to support his fellow horseman or was going to support Mara? Well, we got our answer there. That was a lot of fun. And also, that was another bummer going back to my poster. I was not able to get Mara's signature either. That was another thing. All the players that competed in the Schmoedown Live event itself, and the only two players I ended up getting signatures from that actually competed on the show were Roka and Merle. If I had kind of, came forth a little bit more, I probably could have gotten Mara's signature after the match, but or after the show. But she was with Dan, so I wanted to let them have their time because obviously, again, I'm a very nice person. So Mara Kanopik, the new Inner Geekdom champion, and of course everything that transpired afterwards with Mike Kalinowski, and of course the first exposure of Chance Ellison on the actual Schmoedown show itself. Going to be very interesting to see where that team goes. That team, I think, can go very deep. I don't having them win the whole thing though. If you saw the Take 3 summit, you know who I'm picking to win. Probably didn't hear who I picked to win because my connection was crap. Big surprise there. So, yeah. So that was going to be interesting to see how that match is going to play out. Mara Kanopik, Kalinowski rematch at the Spectacular. I'm really looking forward to seeing that rematch because obviously, without that amputation 5-point question that Mike got in the tournament final, that result could have easily gone either way. So it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to win that match because they were level pegging for a majority of that match, and even Mike had a fairly sizable lead at one point during that match as well. So being that they're again playing a 5-round format, it's going to be interesting to see how that match will play out. But so that was my experience of the Schmoedown Live event. Again, as I said, it was a lot of fun to get to actually attend it. For a person like myself that has been reacting to Schmoedown for quite a while, even never did I think I would have the opportunity to actually attend a Schmoedown event. And I very much so want to attend more. I really want to attend the Spectacular as well. It's going to be interesting to see when, depending on when it films or when they record it. I guess potentially I might be able to. It's just all going to depend on when they film it. So yeah, so that was my take on the Schmoedown event itself. Also, a little bit of brief recap about my trip in general. Got to stay not too far away from the El Portal itself. I stayed at a place called the Mikado Hotel, which is about 2 miles from the area, which I was very happy about, because it meant I didn't have to worry about renting a car, because as soon as I got out of LAX, saw the traffic coming around, and I was like, oh, hell no, this is not going to end well. So fortunately, I was close enough to the El Portal that I could just walk there. So yes, got plenty of exercise going to the Schmoedown live shows, and the pre-shows and the after shows and all that. So yay, exercise. Exercise is great, if anybody cares. But that did lead to some trials and tribulations, because obviously, having never been to LA before, obviously it's probably no surprise, as I told you, with my technologically impaired self, not having stuff like Uber or anything like that, didn't have the ability to call cabs or anything like that. Although, like, I tried calling a taxi over, like the phone, and yeah, that's just a complete waste of time. If you're ever trying to call a cab in LA, don't waste your time. There's no point to. I literally picked up the phone when I'm at my hotel, because the day that I'm heading out, I'm trying to get a taxi to just take me to the station, so I don't have to, worry about walking again. And I call a checker cab, because there's like 3 different kinds of cabs out there. So I call checker cab, and they're like, checker cab, how can I help you? And I'm like, yes, I'd like to request a cab for a pickup at the Mikado Hotel. And they're literally like, we don't have any around there. Well, no crap. That's why I'm calling you, to ask you to come here so you can pick me up. That's like the whole point of why I'm calling you, idiot. So, yeah, I said that twice. Pick up at the Mikado Hotel, and they said the exact same thing. We don't have anybody around there. Click. Complete waste of time. Yeah. Cab service is no help and no good. So let that be known. So yeah, walk. I do a lot of walking. But that led to getting lost the first day I was there, which is not much fun when you're in a place that you've never been before, all by yourself, and not really having anybody you can contact when you're there. So obviously, anybody that has been to the North Hollywood area before, like most major cities, when you like most of the streets are traditionally, they're either north south or east west. That's how most major cities are. I did know, though, because when I researched the North Hollywood area where I was going to be staying, um, while almost every single street is like that, there's one road that is completely different from all those. So you have all the roads that go like this and like this, but then there's one road on the west side of North Hollywood that goes like this. So it like completely intersects all these north, south, east, west roads, which is Lancashire for people that have been there, and that's the same road where El Portal's at. So I kept track of that. I made sure that I knew that when I got there. What I didn't know was, when I got off the North Hollywood station, I didn't know that that station was on that road. So when I get off this station, I'm like, okay, so I know all these roads go north, south, east, west. As soon as I get off this station, because I knew the El Portal wasn't too far away from that station, because it was only like a really short walk. It wasn't going to take anything at all. So I was like, okay, as soon as I get off this station, I'm just going to start going west. And as soon as I hit a street that I know, I'll be clear sailing. Well, little did I know that this road that I thought was a east-west road was that one freaking road in the entire area of LA that went like this. So I'm not going east-west that I thought. I'm going this way. So none of these roads that I'm expecting to hit, I ever hit. So I walk about 12 blocks until I get to where Lancashire, for people that have been there, once you get to a certain spot, Lancashire then starts to fork into 2 separate roads. Once I got there, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that this is not the direction I'm supposed to be walking. So walked 12 blocks back to where the station was, starting to get very confused as to where the hell I am. I was like, so once I get back to the station, I'm like, you know what? I'll just start walking the other way. I'll see what else I can find. I walk 1 block, 1 stinking block, and the El Portal's right there. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's like, why couldn't I just walk that way? I would have saved an hour and a half of my time. So, yeah, he was like, I did all that walking, and all I had to do to find the El Portal was literally do this. Hey, there it is. So, yeah, that was a bummer. And then once I found the El Portal, finding the hotel was kind of easy because, as I figured out, again, once I was taking that 12-block walk down what the frick boulevard, I was looking for the two roads that intersect where my hotel was going to be. And of course, because it was going in that direction, it was never going to hit any of these roads because the one road that goes like this turns down like this, and the one road that goes like this forks like that. So if I kept going in that direction, I was never going to hit anything. So once I found the El Porto, it became a lot easier because even though it was like a 2-mile walk, I only had to stay on three streets, so it was much easier once I found that. So yeah, so those were the fun trials and tribulations of the first day of being in LA. And also, obviously, anybody that remembered, I was literally on the Walk of Fame when the news broke that Burt Reynolds had passed away. So got to sadly see them set all of that up, the memorial and the tribute. So got to take a picture of his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame with the bouquet and the mantle stand. Then got to take his the picture of his handprints and feet prints at the Chinese theater. Got to take a couple more photos of stars in Chinese prints elsewhere. So that was a blast. Also got conned by a couple of the people that are just walking around the Walk of Fame, just giving you the CDs and claiming that they're on Jimmy Kimmel and all that stuff, and give me $10 for the support man and give me $5 for my brother. And it's amazing. It doesn't matter how far you are from LA. You can be in Bangkok, Thailand, and they've got a brother that lives in that area. It's always weird, but so yeah, got lost a little bit of money there. And also, I still, for the 4 days that I was there in LA, I do not understand how their metro train system works. It cannot be as complicated as I had to deal with. If anybody has been on the metro subways in LA, you know that they have these new tap cards, or tap or tab, whatever the hell they're called. So they do this thing where you got to pay your fee for the trip, and then you got to pay an additional fee for the card. And so generally what you do is you just pay your money, and you get a one-way trip, and you just put your thing in front of the little sensor, and it beeps, and you have your one trip. Well, they also had one where you had like a 24-hour service, so like you can have like 24 hours, do whatever you want. However, for whatever reason, and I don't understand this for the life of me, and if anybody knows what's going on with this, they can fill me in. I purchased this the tap card for the 24-hour service, and I do it, and it says like expires like the next day. So then I'm going back to go the other way, and I use the card, and it's like access denied, cannot use this card, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's like so it's like you literally get 24 hours of service for that tap card, but you get 24 hours of service to only go in one direction. If you want to go back in the other direction, you got to get another card to do the same thing. And I'm like, this cannot be how this works. Like, there's no way in how this is how it works. You cannot pay double the price for a 24-hour service. Please tell me, somebody that's watching, please tell me if that's actually how it works, because if it is, that's like BS, and if it's not, well, then I probably wasted about $30 going through a bunch of tab cards. I think when it was all said and done, I had about 13 cards. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, but being I've never been there before, I had no earthly idea how that was supposed to work. So yeah, the Red Line Retro, that was fun and a half. The trip around North Hollywood was a lot of fun. Obviously, living on the East Coast, Getting to see a Carl's Jr. was odd because obviously over here they are Hardee's. So walking into a Carl's Jr. for the first time was weird. Um, Getting to walk into a Wiener Schnitzel was interesting. Obviously over here they're called Tasty Freeze. And I guess technically it was Tasty Freeze out there, but they call it Wiener Schnitzel. Not really sure how that worked. Got to have my first Jamba Juice experience, which was very nice. Which come back home, nobody knows what the hell Jamba Juice is. It's like, what are y'all rednecks? And then I'm like, oh yeah, we're all rednecks. Redneck County, Delaware, everybody. Born and raised. Then had my first In-N-Out burger. That was one of the many things that I was told. Any of the things that I did, got to go to In-N-Out Burger at least once, and I did. One of the best burgers that I ever had. If I ever get a chance to go back, I'm definitely going back there. That was so good, so good. The hotel that I also went to had a sushi bar right next to it, so yes, got to enjoy sushi every single night. Yum yum yum. And got to buy authentic California wine for my sister, and somehow was able to get it on the plane without any questioning whatsoever. So yeah, I guess our airport security is still not that locked down when you're able to just bring on 2 completely unopened wine bottles and just bring them right on board. That was a little interesting. And as soon as I got home, Mom was like, "Hey, let you take that on board?" I'm like, "I don't know if they knew I had them on board." It's like, "Well, that's stupid." I'm like, "America, what do you expect?" So yeah, a bunch of souvenirs, both Schmoedown related and just California based related, Hollywood related, and all that. Um, Got to get an Oscar for best parents for mom and dad. They really liked that. They got a kick out of that one. Again, got my sister wine. Didn't get my brother anything because he doesn't care about any of the stuff that I do. So he just looks at me. He's like, "You do them videos, right?" Yeah. Uh, Walks away. That's about all the conversation that we have about any of this stuff. But yeah, the family was real happy for me. Obviously, I don't get to do trips like this very often. Again, this is like the first legitimate trip that I had done in 10 years, and the first one I'd ever done by myself. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. Ultimately, Schmoedown Live. Obviously, we don't know if they're going to do any more. So it's uh, I'm really hoping that they can do more. It's just a matter of how the budget will come. Let's see, Jonathan Peck. What city or state should the Schmoedown Live take place? My pick is D.C. or Virginia. I would have no problem with that because then I can just drive there and I don't have to worry. I don't know about D.C. though. D.C. is if you've never been to DC, it's very much like LA. It's literally the East Coast, LA. There's nowhere to park in DC. Like if you want to park in a certain place, you are literally parking miles away from where you want to go. And that's about the same experience that a lot of people told me they had, which is one of the reasons why I was happy that I walked, because usually when you're driving to a place, the whole purpose is to get to park in a spot and you just get to walk right out and there's your destination. A lot of friends that I had, like they were taking their rental cars, they get to the El Portal Theater and they're still literally parking about a mile away from the theater. That's like kind of a moot point for me because if I'm only walking, 2 miles to the theater or take a car and then walk another mile, that's kind of a moot point for me. So I'm actually kind of glad that I walked. Helped with the exercise and didn't have to take any additional travel. So I'm from Virginia. Oh, hey, Jonathan. From Virginia. It's amazing how many people that I've met here on Schmoedown that are actually really close to the Delmarva Peninsula. Like I met James White. James White's from Salisbury, Maryland, and I've known him for a while on Twitter. So and another Orioles fan, and he was very happy to show off his Orioles gear. I'm not so much because yeah, as breaking news, the O's stink again still, and they will for a very long time. So I pretty much said everything that I think that's come to mind off the top of my head. anybody that has any other questions for me, you can ask them. I know James White from Twitter too. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I got to chat with him for a little while. Bullshitted with it. That was another cool thing. I guess I can bring that up too. After the pre-show that happened, or the pre-get together that Patrick Campbell had, where I met a lot of people, we actually went to Patrick's apartment. Like it was like 30 of us, and we bullshitted there for about another 2 hours. I don't think I got back to the hotel that night until like 1 in the morning. So that was a lot of fun. But just getting a chance to meet everybody that I've gotten to meet on Facebook or Twitter, and again, like it was a lot of people there that that a lot of people are probably familiar with. Robert and Vanessa were there. Got to meet Chance, Andrew Hayes, Mike Hanley, Janine was there, Rachel Silver Srini was there. Got to meet Patrick's wife, very nice person indeed. Chris Stolitsky was there. I don't think I ever brought up that I got to meet Chris also. So yeah, got to meet a lot of friends and good people, and hopefully I'll get to meet them again. Fingers crossed. Definitely would like to head back out there again. So as I was saying before, if anybody has anything else that they like to ask about me personally, because I've really not ever said a whole lot about myself personal wise. So I guess this could be as good a time as any for asking me anything. So if anybody has any particular thing that they would wish to ask, they can go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I'm not gonna stall here and bullshit, even though that's pretty much what I do a lot of times on my reactions. But yeah, so anybody there that would like to ask anything, otherwise, we can shut this down. It's been about an hour, so this is a lot longer than I would have thought I was going to be on here. I was just expecting, quick little 30-minute video. But yeah, Jonathan Peck, good to see you on here. Ryan was on here for a little while. Not sure if it is now though. So yeah, if anybody's got anything they'd like to ask within the next minute or so, you can go ahead and do so. Otherwise, we can just call it a video. And this was a lot of fun. Anybody going once? Anybody going twice? Okay, I guess not. I guess keeping my privacy is probably the best thing for. It's a good thing to keep some things a mystery. Also, oh yeah, I should probably bring this up too. Obviously, if anybody knows the worldwide movie trivia stuff, I'm going to be competing on there very soon. I'm going to be playing Alex Warden. I have no idea why. Give me a second. Okay, I'll give you a second. I'm about to tell a story, so I'll give you plenty of time. So yeah, I'm playing Alex Warden. I have no idea why. I'm an admin on the page, and when Case said that I was going to be playing Alex, like my reaction was, "Huh?" It's like, please don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, please. And it's funny because we started talking about putting the match together, and I asked him, like, I was just being honest. I was like, why do you want me to play Alex, if you don't mind me asking? And it was funny because his answer that he gave me is like, because you're really popular and a lot of people like you, which was a funny answer because my movie trivia knowledge was never brought up one time during that answer, which means I know for a fact he was telling the truth. Because honesty is the best policy, kids. So yeah, so I'm going to be playing Alex Warden, and second round knockout, virtually guaranteed. I have no confidence in that this match is going to go well. The match is actually going to record on Sunday, so yeah. If you see myself giving some depressed vibes in the next couple Schmoedown reactions, you might get a hint as to what happened. But it was funny because Case is brought up because I played a worldwide movie trivia match way back in the days of lore. It was one of the I think it was one of the premiere matches that they did on the Take 3 page. I played David Crossan, which was branched from that very first Reactor Summit that we all did. and that was how that match got put together. And Case was one of the co hosts of that match. Then I've had a picture of you of a Twitter with a guy who went to the Schmoedown live with him taking a picture of Roker with you. JTH photobombed the picture. Picture of you on Schmoedown live with you. Not really sure. It was. You mean I photobombed a picture where somebody else was taking a picture? I actually think I might know that you're talking about, actually, because I was actually waiting to get John's signature, because that was right after the match had ended. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Took me a little while to figure it out. I thought you were like, wait, I took a picture with Roca? I don't think so. But yeah, I think I actually do know what you're talking about there. Not intentional. I was just waiting for yeah, to get a signature from John. I was either waiting to get a signature from John, or I was getting a signature from Riley at the time, because they were right next to each other on the stage at the time. So yeah, I think I do know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't know that got posted. So yeah, I guess I'm an unintentional photo bomber. One of my true specialties. But yeah, so back on track. When I played David Cross, and Case was the like the co-host of that match. And he was like, well, I remember when you played David Crossan, and you played really good. Like, you scored like 9 points. Like, you lost by a point, so like, you did lose the match, but I thought you played really well. And he was like, that was a complete anomaly, for the record. Because I'll even explain to everybody, because I even told Case and a bunch of people when I was out there, because a lot of people that knew I was playing Alex, they gave they were like, "Be rest in peace. Thanks, thanks for the support, guys." So it was like, yeah, because I explained to Case, like, it was a complete anomaly how I played in that match, because like, I'm trying to remember all the questions off the top of my head that I got right. The first question was the Lego Batman question, like who played Barbara Gordon in the Lego Batman movie. So you can see right there. There's the movie right there. Like, that was my favorite movie of that year. So I had saw it a couple times, so I knew that question like the back of my head. So that was just from total pure exposure to a new release. Then a couple more questions got asked. I had no freaking clue. Couldn't even give an answer. I said Truffle Shuffle for one of them, about what was a person's name. I put Truffle Shuffle, people. Yeah, that tells you my knowledge there. And then the question about what national landmark did one of the scenes from Ghost 2 take place. I have never seen Ghostbusters 2. How I knew that, though, was if anybody saw the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles show, not the one that's out currently, but the one that came out in like 2012. There was an episode in season 3 that involved the Triceratons, where they were going to put a beacon up on the Statue of Liberty to activate the beacon and bring the other Triceratons to Earth to start the invasion. And in that episode, there's an Easter egg where it says inside the Statue of Liberty, Venkman was here. And that's the only reason I know, because I know who Venkman is, obviously, because I've seen Ghostbusters. So it was like, okay, it's got to be Ghostbusters 2, so it's got to be the Statue of Liberty. And that was right. Then you had the Deadpool question, like, what was Ajax's real name? Obviously, that had just came out. Everyone and their dog has seen Deadpool, so that was another question that I knew. But then didn't know the Harold and Kumar question, because I've never seen those movies either. So then we got to round 2, and David got fantasy sci-fi, and he got the Terminator question. What was Cristiano Locum's Terminator model number in T3 Rise of the Machines? I've never seen T3, but I've seen Death Battle, and they allude to the TX in that Death Battle. So that's the only reason I knew that. So again, just dumb coincidence. Then let's see. Didn't know any of my stuff from classics. I'd have been better off getting plastics than classics. Completely Kuga the first 2 questions. Like, I'm just like Jeff Snyder. I didn't know what island Jaws took place on either, so I can at least say that I'm not alone in that. Let's see. I beat Cody Newberry. My first match, my trivia nicknames. And yeah, I recognize you, Jonathan. I've seen you play a couple times. Full Metal. Yeah. So yeah, then when I got to the third round at the time, because they had switched up things when I started playing, then they did the thing where you had to name a movie based on a quote, and it was the 300 quote: "Ready your breakfast and eat hearty, for tonight we dine in hell." I've never seen 300, but I saw Meet the Spartans, and that's the only reason why I knew that. So again, knew a quote based on a completely different movie from a movie that I had never seen, because I was like, I recognize this quote, but I'm willing to bet it's not Meet the Spartans. So, and I even said that during the match, which they cut out in the thing. So you're getting some behind the scenes deleted footage that was never showcased on Take Three's content. After the question was asked, I was like, would you believe if the only reason I knew that was because I saw Meet the Spartans? And Doman at the time was like, JTH, I take all your points. No! It's like, oh, there went my chance to win. So, and then in the IMDb round, I had to guess Mission Impossible 2. Newsflash, big surprise, I've never seen Mission Impossible 2. Just got Tom Cruise and just threw a movie out there that just happened to be right. But I got totally robbed on David Crossan getting Men in Black on his IMDb. So freaking easy. I would have known it by the 5-pointer. So, yeah, shame on them. They wanted JTH to lose, but they cannot keep the total incompetence of JTH down. I will be avenged with my stupidity. I hope we compete with each other in a match one day. I hope so too, because I love to give people victories. It's yeah. When it comes to movies, I don't have any confidence whatsoever. As you can tell, movies. Like, I like movies, but I can't get out of my way to actually go out and see a whole bunch because, life sometimes gets in the way. Like these Schmoedown reactions that I do, like, they're really time consuming. Like, like my internet connection is really bad. When I do a reaction, I will literally have to dedicate an entire night to posting these matches online. It literally takes an hour to convert the video, an hour to reconvert the video with the picture-in-picture overlay. And then my internet connection is so bad that typical Schmoedown reaction that it takes to get online takes about 3 hours, where I can go across the street to my sister's house and that same video will take 10 minutes. So yeah, gotta love crappy internet connection. And it's just not something that we can put in the budget. I'm dedicating most of the fundings that I can do that I probably should, commit to a better internet connection, and I'm, donating it to Schmoedown. So got to make sacrifices along the way. I'll gladly support Schmoedown if it helps them further their cause. I can just take longer to upload videos. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I think we're gonna call this a video. This was a lot of fun to get to chat with a couple of you guys and to talk about my Schmoedown Live experience, which I'm glad that some people saw me in the crowd. Also, yeah, I'm trying to remember where it was at. Oh, it was right at the end when Mike said, "Let me stop you right there." It's because I called him "you dummy." He heard that in the crowd, and he stopped me. You could probably hear it very quietly in the clip. If you go back and rewatch the video, before Mike says, "Let me stop you right there," you'll hear like a murmuring or like a big low voiced slur. That's me saying "you dummy," which he heard, and Let me stop you right there. Um, I expected Mike would show up at some point. I'm actually a little surprised he didn't show up earlier. I thought he was actually going to show up in between the matches, but he did show up. So we got pretty much everything that I was expecting. Dan Murrow victory, which I was very happy for because I had bought my tickets for that show the second it was announced that he was going to be at that show, which was at the previous live event. I'm really curious as to what the original plan was going to be because I'm willing to bet uh, uh, an Anarchy team tournament match was probably not in the cards when they originally had announced that match. I'm really curious as to what that match would have been. And I had a chance to talk to Chris. I wanted to ask Christian that when I was there because we did chat for a little while after the show, and I forgot all about asking him that. So that would have been nice to get some behind the scenes of what potentially the match could have been. But we're gonna call this a video. It's been going on for about an hour. I pretty much said everything that I need to say, and or anything that anybody would be interested in saying. So that's gonna do it for this edition of JTH recaps instead of reacts to the movie Trivia Schmoedown live. You can follow me on Twitter at WWEJTH1. I will post practically all my Schmoedown reactions to that page. You can, of course, join the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page, as I'm sure everybody on here has done. You can see my ugly mug on there. See my new profile pic with Andrew Guy and the GOAT, or Andrew Guy and a GOAT. I don't know how you would word that. Or you just say the GOAT, because I am the GOAT. I'm the best two-time wrestling trivia champion. Champs Lunch. We got to have that Champs Lunch, me and Guy did. I've been talking about it all that time, and we finally got to have that Champs Lunch. That was awesome. Join the official Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page. Follow the official Movie Trivia Schmoedown Twitter page at the Schmoedown. And, of course, if you can, become a Patreon supporter. It goes a long way. And, of course, the big match, Harrell versus Ellis, is coming up very soon. And, that's a Patreon-only match. So if you want to see the 5 rounds of goodness between Christian and Ellis, all you got to do is become a Patreon supporter. So that being said, that's going to do it for this edition of JTH Recaps, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. This is JTH. Until next time, thank you for watching. And until then, I bid you adieu.